Hey everyone, CKY here again today. Hope you're all doing well. Today I'm not looking to do a walkthrough, I'm looking to just do a sort of supplementary video. It's going to be on the use of Windows Exploit Suggester and Windows Exploit Suggester Next Generation. Some of you may have seen me use these in some of my Windows machine walkthroughs, so rather than continually reference these and go through the how-to, I thought we'd just do a separate supplementary video that you can look at as reference if required. So let's look to get moving with this. So we're going to have a look at Windows Exploit Suggester first, so let's look at Googling that. And the one we're looking for is Aeon Cyberlabs Windows Exploit Suggester. And we're looking for this Windows Exploit Suggester.py. Let's look. I'm going to hit the raw button here and then take the URL, copy that, and then use the wget command to take that down locally. And if we list the contents, we can see it's there. The next step would be to change the attributes, so this is executable, chmod plus x, check it's there, and we can see it's executable. Next, we need to use sudo and run it with the --update, and this is to download the database that Windows Exploit Suggester will use. And as we can see there, that has been completed, and we've also got an XLS file in the directory there. So let's clear this up. Now, in order to use Windows Exploit Suggester, we need the system info from the target machine. Many times we'll use this, it's privesc, so we'll have an initial shell, and if we just run system info, it will give us that information, and then we do what I'm showing you here. We put the contents of system info into a text file, okay? There's the system info command at the top there, and we just paste that entire contents into a file, and it's this file that we will reference with our Windows Exploit Suggester. So I'll clear the terminal here to keep it clean, and we will now look to run Windows Exploit Suggester against that text file which I just displayed. We use the -d to specify the database, the -i will specify the system info file, and then we quite simply hit return, and away it goes. Now in our results here we can see there's many different type of exploits listed here. Down the bottom here we've got an elevation of privilege listed there. And up here we've got a remote code execution listed. Now if we want to see the details of any of these, we can quite simply right click on the URL and say open link, and then it will lead to the data on that particular exploit. And from this we can obviously find any details that we may need in case we have to modify scripts, etc. Now what would be good here is if we could look to filter this down. Perhaps we're just looking solely at privesc, for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the exact same command again, except this time I'm going to do a -l, okay? Now what that means, -l stands for local. As you can see there, searching for local exploits only. And what we should tend to find here is a much more condensed list, probably around privesc exploits. And as we can see here, it is a shorter list. We do have privesc, and same idea again, right click on the URL and open the link to bring up the information on that exploit. Now again, we can run the same command this time with a -r, and that means for remote exploits only. As you can see, I'm highlighting that here. And again, we should have a shorter list than the very first scan that we ran there, but I would expect to see remote code execution listed here. And as we can see, we do have remote code. Same idea again. You can right click on any relevant URL, open the link, and that will give you the details on that particular exploit. And that is Windows Exploit Suggester. So the next tool we're going to take a look at is Windows Exploit Suggester Next Generation. So let's look to Google Windows Exploit Suggester again. And this time what we're going to be looking for is one called WES-NG. And as we can see there, it's the second entry, bits admin. So click on that link. And we can see the script there, but this time I'm going to look to actually take the whole directory down. So copy the link, and we will use the git clone command to copy the entire directory contents. Paste in a link there. And this will just take a second, so I will skip the video forward to speed this part up. So the download has now completed, and if we do ls, we can see we've got a WES-NG folder. Let's go into that folder. List the contents, and we can see we've got the files here. As before, we will need to change the attributes, so let's look to do a chmod plus x on the WES-PY script. Let's clear the terminal here. And as with the original Windows exploit suggester, we need to update this, so let's look to launch wes.py --update. And that's it completed. Perfect. So now we are ready to proceed here. So for our first scan, let's just launch wes.py, and we're just going to leave it with the default options to see what results we get. So /wes.py, locate the system info file, and let's see what we get back. Slightly different output to what we sort of saw previously. In all honesty, we've got quite a lot of data that comes from Windows Exploit Suggester Next Generation, and there can be quite a lot to go through. So as I'm showing you here, we need to try and find a way to filter this down, because the information is somewhat verbose. So let's look to see what we can do about this. If we run the same command again, we're going to add a -e so that it only finds exploits only, and then we're going to do a -i, which will include a term that we're actually looking for. So I'm going to say privilege. So let's say -i privilege, and this should then only find privilege escalation where there's actual exploits. Okay. Now, as we can see, the scan was a lot quicker, and if we scroll up, there's certainly a lot less information in there. Same as before, any relevant link, right click, open link, and that will take us to the article in question. So let's look to run the command again, except this time we're going to change privilege to remote, and we're going to have a focus on trying to find remote code execution. And let's see what we get back. So we've got the results here. Again, the results are significantly less than what our initial default scan was. We can see that it is picking up remote code execution, and if we have any interest, right click on the link, open, and that will take us to the details of that particular exploit. Now, WES-NG does have another option which allows us to filter these results further. However, in order to do this, we need to install Mechanical Soup. Okay, so if you do sudo pip3 install Mechanical Soup, and that will install Mechanical Soup. So what we're looking to do here is use the muck lookup option, which validates the results against Microsoft's catalog to eliminate false positives. Okay, so this time we'll do python3 /wes.py, same syntax as before really. We'll point it to our system info. We're going to set the option so it's only got exploits, -e, then -i. We'll just look for privilege again, and at the end here we do --muck -lookup, and then we will execute our scan. Now, as we can see, it'll look slightly different here. It'll start to go through, look for duplicates, and then ones that are superseded. And as you can also see, it's starting to show progress bars as it validates these findings. So this can take some time. So I'm going to skip the video forward ahead in order to save some time here, and I'll revert back. Now we've got our scan results, but I'll be honest, this took 4 or 5 minutes. We will have a more accurate list here. There'll be less entries on it, easier to filter through. Again, right click on any web link that you may need, and then we can go and see the details on the exploit as we've done previously. Now really, whether you choose to use muck lookup is a personal preference in all honesty. It can come down to time. It can save a lot of time in that you're not trying exploits which may not actually work due to false positives. However, it can take some time for the scan to run. You may also be wondering which scanner to use, Windows Exploit Suggester or Next Generation. Next Generation is meant to be more up to date and better for modern operating systems. However, I'll be honest, I use both. I'd suggest you play around with it and see what you find works for you. I would like to thank you for taking the time for viewing today. If you did find this of value, I wouldn't mind if you'd add a like, and hopefully we shall see you again soon. All the best. Thank you.